Sean O'Malley just got dominated by Merab last weekend, and I've seen a lot of controversy on Twitter debating, was he overrated this whole time, or is he actually a good striker and he was a good champion? So we're going to be breaking it down on Dodson's Corner and then give our final verdict, is he overrated or is he not, at the end of this video. Let's go. So I'm going to start off with my reasons of why he's not overrated. The number one reason is because he has had difficult stylistic matchups before in Aljo and Jan. I think Cheeto was a favorable matchup because he stayed on the feet the whole time. But Jan is well-rounded everywhere, good boxer, good wrestler. And Aljo was regarded as a dominant champion in Bantamweight. He was boring, but he was dominant. He was the backpack. He just stayed on guys' backs. Sean had good takedown defense in that fight. And he was able to put his lights out in 2 rounds.
Yeah. You have to be good to become a champion in the UFC. You know how many fighters are in the UFC? And there's 8 champions. He had to get there some way. And anything that happens in the cage, there's no such thing as, there's very few flukes. Sean O'Malley is someone who's had a fluke loss with his injury versus Cheeto. Came back, made that up. So coming out here and losing one fight, people immediately start overreacting. They have such short-term memory. This guy's beat Peter Yan, a former champion. He's come out and he beat Aljamain Sterling for the belt, former champion, okay? He's young too. Like, I know I'm like yelling, but it's just frustrating with these people who are like, immediately someone loses and they're like, well, terrible.
Yeah.
May as well be unranked.
Yeah, you can't believe everyone you hear on Twitter because people have so many biases of their favorite fighters. People hate Sean, people love Sean, people hate Merab, people love Merab. And unfortunately, a lot of it is dependent on where you live. And I'm not going to get into that, but it's just the nature of Twitter. You have someone who has an opinion and they can post about it, which is fine. But that doesn't mean that they're right. And even for us and other people on YouTube, I think I usually try and take this like a very nuanced approach where, yes, some of the things are true, but also no, a lot of it isn't true. He did bring life into a bantamweight division, which was struggling, to say the least.
He brought it back. We have all these awesome strikers, but we also have these like world-class wrestlers and grapplers in it. Like the amount of talent in bantamweight that now has the eyes on it because of the Sugar Show.
Yeah, he did bring a lot of eyes, not only with the KOs, but with not the trash talk, but the matchups that he was able to have. He had exciting matchups up the ranks. That Cheeto fight, getting it back with a rematch. He had the Jan fight, which is regarded as the best 3-fight bantamweight fight of all time, 3-round bantamweight fight. And then with the Merab fight, they had beef because he beat Aljo. He is bringing storylines into the bantamweight division, which we didn't have before. And if he fights someone like Sandhagen, that is a banger matchup. If he fights someone like Cejudo, there's beef between them. He has storylines with everyone, and that makes him exciting.
And I think that there's also, in the bantamweight division, there's a lot of jealousy towards Sean because these guys were here before him, and then this new kid shows up, and everyone suddenly starts to care about the division because of one guy, and they're like, hey, we're here too. I want to go, and I want to beat this guy now. You know, we saw that Merab can beat him, so now everyone's like, I want to beat this guy, and there's going to be a line for Sean. I know he says he wants to take 8 to 12 months off, so we probably won't see him till about this time next year, but we'll start to hear stuff about it in the summer next year, and it's going to be exciting to see what happens. It's going to suck not to get to see him fight. We did get 2 fights out of him this year, so not the worst, but I'm going to miss the Sugar Show a little bit. But you know he'll be at all the events. He'll be still active on social media, so.
Yeah, I think another reason why I'm upset how everyone is acting online after this loss is because he was dominated for 3-ish rounds, but it's not like he took damage. People are acting like Merab Khabib'd him, you know? People are acting like he's McGregor and Merab's Khabib. That is not the case. He didn't get finished. He actually won 2 of the rounds.
Yeah.
And another one was kind of close. So it's not like it was a blowout. Merab had some memeable moments that made him look bad. But I don't know. That's why we like sports, right? Like anything can happen on a night. And I guarantee if you run that fight back 25 times, Sean wins a decent amount of them.
And I think to talk about the damage again is I was watching Sean's podcast talking about the fight, and I was very confused because there was little to no damage on the face of Sean O'Malley. He genuinely looked the same going in as he did coming out. Merab may have had all of the control time, but did very little to any damage on Sean O'Malley.
Yeah, he had a couple rounds where he was ground and pounding, but it wasn't the entire fight. It's not like a dominance like Islam or Khabib.
He was simply in a stylistic nightmare for Sean O'Malley, and this time he came up short.
Okay, let's switch topics and talk about why Sean might be a little bit overrated.
His ground game's weak, and it's very clear that over the next year that he's taking off, I really hope he spends a lot of time working on his grappling and his jiu-jitsu, because his takedown defense is not bad. Like, I think that he did a pretty decent job of stopping the takedown, but once he's down on the ground.
When he's moving forward, when he was teep kicking in that 5th round, why aren't you spamming that the entire time? Right? I know it takes some energy, but so does getting taken down and getting dominated on the ground. Like, that does take some energy from you. So you might as well throw some teep kicks to keep him away. And we did see him have great takedown defense against Aljo as well, right? He's one of the best grapplers in that division. So I think that there is some merit to saying that Sean was fast-tracked to a title shot, just like every other major prospect contender that Dana White likes, right? Someone has hype around them, they are going to get somewhat fast-tracked to that title shot. That's just the way the UFC goes. The rankings aren't everything. We've seen that with Ankalaev and Pereira. Like, that fight should have happened. It didn't. You can complain all you want, but that's not going to change the fact that the people who are exciting, the people who are getting finishes and bringing eyes to the sport are going to be getting title shots faster.
Yeah, he is marketable, so you can't blame Dana, you can't blame Sean for wanting to get this guy on these big cards, and he won those fights. He was fast-tracked, but he won the fights that he was booked, and you can't get mad at him for it.
Yeah, and another reason I see people kind of saying that he's overrated is that he arguably lost to Jan, and then he took that Aljo fight when Aljo was still recovering from his last fight and did not want that fight with Sean at all. Dana White and Hunter kind of coerced him into taking that fight against Sean. So there is some merit to that. Maybe those fights, if it's a different fighter, if it's a different judge, that Jan fight goes the other way and Sean gets bumped down. If that Aljo fight is booked at a different time, maybe it goes different. But again, you can literally say that for any fight in the UFC. You can say that for Sean versus Dricus. You can say if there's a different judge there, Sean wins. You can say that for, a Pereira and Izzy fight, right?
Yeah.
Like, if Izzy doesn't get lucky with that right hand and KO Pereira, he loses again. It's just sports.
It's all sports. Like, it's how it goes. It's what makes sports betting such a losing thing for people who are sports bettors, because there's always that extra layer of the unexpected random stuff. That's why you can never be successful in sports betting. Like, all you
Speak for yourself.
All those degenerates at home are like, hopefully you didn't follow our advice from 306, but
exactly. Yeah. No, we had good picks. It just didn't work out.
Yeah. There was, 1 for 4 on the main card.
All right. I want to know your guys' thoughts, because obviously we have the best community on YouTube. So we know you guys are very logical people, logical UFC fans. So let us know in the comments, is Sean O'Malley overrated, or is he that good? Is he going to come back for a title shot again? We'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.
See ya.